Amy, a lovely wife that's married to Nicholas Nick Dunn, celebrates her 5th wedding anniversary. Nick is a carefree 40-year-old, and unlike other spouses on their wedding anniversary, Nick seems strange. He drinks in a pub instead of buying her a present. The barkeep is Margot, his twin sister. She observes Nick's hung-up expression and asks the reason. Popular children's writer Amy prepared a book launch. Nick was among the guests. Nick only wrote for a tiny men's magazine. Amy was loved by millions. Soon, they headed outdoors to explore NYC alleyways. To impress Amy, Nick exploited his charm and excellent looks. He kissed her when it was right. They ended their night with passionate love. Currently, Nick receives a call from his neighbor while telling his tale, claiming his pet is outdoors. Nick rushes home to get the cat. Strangely, the front door open. Nick phones Amy, but she doesn't answer. So he explores the home until a broken glass table is found. Nick is shocked and screams for aid. After arriving with her helper, Detective Rhonda promptly starts to work. A few blood drops are found in odd locations as she searches the home. Then, she sees Amy's books in her room. Realizing her fame as a writer, her abduction becomes a high-profile case for Detective Rhonda. Nick gets tested at the police station when they all arrive. Once, after he finishes, Detective Rhonda promises to locate Amy. Her credit cards are monitored. A forensics team is searching the murder site for evidence. And most importantly, tomorrow's press conference will request aid. Nick finds everything humorous. Oddly, he even likens it to Law and Order, the first red signal for Detective. Rhonda asks him questions. However, Nick can't answer many. As he doesn't know Amy's blood type, Nick understands Amy has no friends and reads a lot. Another flashback follows. The 1st anniversary. Nick and Amy are happily married. They frequently have, in public, and exchange extravagant gifts. But little did they realize their lives would only become worse. In the present, investigator Rhonda searches the murder site for clues. Noelle arrives pregnant, claiming to be Amy's closest friend. She admits and has known Amy for almost a year. Rhonda is skeptical since Nick said his wife has no friends. She sends Noelle away and interrogates her afterwards. She visits the Dunn home and hears from the forensic team that the bloody kitchen floor was cleaned. Furthermore, the whole home is registered in Amy's name. The press conference is the following day. As a popular writer, Amy, in addition to hundreds of reporters, the event is being carried live on television. Nick and his in-laws will leave the press conference. Nick's turn. He unwillingly says 2 phrases and smiles for a snapshot. He unwinds at his father's abandoned home that night. Just then, Detective Rhonda comes and discovers she was following him. This enrages Nick, so he immediately takes her out of the house and drives away. Another flashback shows the pair going through a hard time. Now, Amy documents everything in her diary. The pair moved to Nick's hometown in Missouri to care for his dying mother. Several months have passed, yet Nick is unemployed. Amy must borrow from her rich parents. Nick, who is new to unemployment, is working on a limited budget, recklessly buys video games. Amy encourages him to improve. Days will pass, yet their chats seem to end in disputes. Amy has been missing for 2 days. Her parents planned an event to attract more helpers and are trying everything to locate their daughter. Nick, as usual, is indifferent. He takes selfies with guests. Nick stays with his sister Margot that night to escape photographers have surrounded him. Unfortunately, he has no relief there. On TV, Margot watches various news networks covering Nick's freewheeling attitude. So Margot approaches her brother. His last 2 days have been a nightmare, so he simply wants to sleep well without criticism. Hearing this, Margot apologizes and sleeps. An unexpected young girl joins the family and leaps after a few hours. Nick's arms. Andy, his lover, is revealed. This explains everything. Nick doesn't worry about his wife's absence since he loves her with another. The fundamental issue is he responsible? They become physical and spend the night together. Unfortunately, the following morning, Margot sees her brother concealing items and chastises him. Nick swiftly responds by saying Amy made him unhappy. At one time, she stopped caring for him and found it hard to spend a day with him. Therefore, he had to resort to a pupil for comfort. Andy. Margot is shocked. She also shows Nick that he is in the news for the wrong reasons. In another flashback, Amy's journal shows she desired a child with Nick, thinking that will fix their issues. However, Nick strongly opposed it. He accidentally wounded her by pushing her to the floor during an argument. Amy broke down and apologized sincerely sincerely. From then on, she worried about her life and desired a divorce. However, she knew Nick wouldn't leave because he wanted her parents' money. Presently, Detective Rhonda receives the forensics report. Household blood samples, only Amy owns it. Nick is requested to deliver another speech to a crowd at night. However, just then, Amy's closest friend, Noelle, suddenly appears and yells that he's lying. After, when the audience is focused, she discloses that Amy was 6 weeks pregnant, her disappearing time. Hearing this, Margot, Andy, and Abby's parents, everyone is shocked. The mob turns against Nick, but the cops take him away. While Nick is drinking at home that night, Detective Rhonda presents him with photos, which prove Amy and Noelle were close friends. She informs him that the blood kitchen belongs to his wife. She merely needs the corpse to prove her hypothesis and imprison Nick. Margot asks her distraught brother about Amy after she leaves. Nick surprises us by saying he never knew about it. Amy never desired a child. Detective Rhonda arrives at Nick's father's home simultaneously. She discovers Amy's half-burned journal in the furnace, but no quartz. We see the disappearing day. A surprising change of events. Amy is exposed as the culprit. That suggests she plotted her husband's arrest. Amy's eyes, Nick stole her soul by lying, cheating, and stealing her dignity and money. We saw how she staged everything. He was her first secret pal. Knowing Noelle was pregnant, Amy snuckily brought her pee sample to a hospital to make bogus medical records. She also lied to Noelle about Nick beating her every night. Amy spilled 2 bags of blood around the kitchen at the murder scene. Her sloppy sweep allowed the cops to discover it. Amy left the police with her false journal entries. What this implies, said Nick never attacked her, but she was hostile. Amy leaves in her vehicle. Her plans began the night she spotted Nick cheating. Nick is likewise certain his wife is framing him. Due to a lack of evidence, he visits Tanner, the nation's brightest lawyer. Tanner shows instantly his fast thinking by giving Nick some advice. He must discredit Amy. Tanner says that she should first identify someone she messed over and collect their testimony. Nick knows the right man. Amy was dating affluent DZ Collins before him, dude from NY. Due to their high standards, they were great together, but DZ eventually left, got possessive. When DZ kept chasing Amy after their separation, she got a restraining order against him. He still writes her letters. An address from one of these letters leads Nick to his mansion. Well, sadly, DZ doesn't want to criticize love. Though Amy has hurt him, he still wants to protect her. She keeps to herself and avoids others. When she unintentionally spills her thick bundle of money, a couple of her neighbors notice. That night, the same individuals beat her and stole the money. The only positive thing is they didn't know she was the gone girl from the news. But Amy doesn't want to risk it, so she packs, departs with things. She has nowhere to stay, so she calls DZ Collins, the only unconditional lover she has. Amy manipulates him immediately when they meet at a casino. She lied. She fled her house because Nick was going to murder her. Now, she cannot return because the country would see her as a coward. Hence, he takes Amy to his remote villa. The whole location is filmed, so Amy won't be found. After the initial plan fails, Tanner encourages Nick to confess live on TV about his affair. This will win him sympathy, since everyone appreciates honesty. On interview day, they're very surprised. Nick's girlfriend, Andy, announces it herself. This puts Nick in danger. Tanner says now they're behind, so going live on TV would be suicide. However, Nick tells him he can handle it. He enters the interview scene, makes an impassioned confession with a solemn face. Many think he's faking it, but Amy, watching from the villa, is impressed. She is moved when Nick says, "I will love my wife forever." Now, 21 days after her abduction, which sparked a worldwide outrage, Amy is contemplating of rejoining her spouse. However, one issue exists. DZ definitely expects her to be his wife. He even quit his personal life and sequestered himself at the villa with her. Amy knows he will become furious and do something horrible if she leaves. She intends to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. First, she enters the restroom, the only camera-free area. She then puts rope markings on her wrists to appear like she was bound. In step 2, she scars her private organs and goes near a camera to film her yelling. Later, DZ returns home. She entices him to hook up. Amy kills him violently while he's preoccupied. Meanwhile, Detective Rhonda has gone over the whole case, making Nick's situation worse, and is about to arrest him. One morning, everything changed. Amy comes, DZ bloodied outside the home. This alters the situation entirely. Once America's most loathed guy, Nick is now innocent. Doctors check on Amy in the evening and find mysterious treatment. Nick knows, but he has no proof. Later, Amy reveals her BS to many authorities. She explains DZ, her possessive lover, abducted and kept her captive. For weeks, Amy becomes the sweetie again as the news goes viral. America, all except Nick and Margot, believe her sob tale. The couple returns home in the last scene, ending the drama. As Nick saw it, the killer, Amy, says she tried everything to go back to him. However, with all that's occurred, Nick is frightened to live with her. He informed her of his departure. He must not do so, otherwise Amy will wreck his life. Hearing this, Nick thinks he's stuck with this madman forever. The film finishes when he puts Amy to sleep. He locks the door from outside, suggesting he no longer feels secure at home. Thanks for watching. Click this video to enjoy another best movie explained in less time. You wouldn't want to miss its shocking and surprising ending.